God is the mind in which I think. I have no thoughts I do not share with God. I have no thoughts apart from him, because I have no mind apart from his. As part of his mind, my thoughts are his, and his thoughts are mine. God is the love in which I forgive. God does not forgive because he has never condemned. The blameless cannot blame, and those who have accepted their innocence see nothing to forgive. Yet forgiveness is the means by which I will recognize my innocence. It is the reflection of God's love on earth. It will bring me near enough to heaven that the love of God can reach down to me and raise me up to him. Keep going. What's that? A kangaroo. That's God. Wow. God is the strength in which I trust. It is not my own strength through which I forgive. It is through the strength of God in me, which I am remembering as I forgive. As I begin to see, I recognize his reflection on earth. I forgive all things because I feel the stirring of his strength in me, and I begin to remember the love I chose to forget, but which has not forgotten me.
Could you do the next one, please?
Yes, please. Next one. There is nothing to fear. How safe the world will look to me when I can see it. It will not look anything like what I imagine I see now. Everyone and everything I see will lean toward me to bless me. I will recognize in everyone my dearest friend. What could there be to fear in a world that I have forgiven and that has forgiven me? Keep going. Yeah. God's voice speaks to me all through the day. There is not a moment in which God's voice ceases to call on my forgiveness to save me. There is not a moment in which his voice fails to direct my thoughts, guide my actions, and lead my feet. I am walking steadily on toward truth. There is nowhere else I can go, because God's voice is the only voice and the only guide that has been given to his Son. I am sustained by the love of God. As I listen to God's voice, I am sustained by his love. As I open my eyes, his love lights up the world for me to see. As I forgive, his love reminds me that his Son is sinless. And as I look upon the world with the vision he has given me, I remember that I am his son.
Yes. Nice moment of remembering there, Gemma.
Hi, Dave.
Hey. Morning. Oh, look, there's Jar's room and Dear One's room. Sleep. Is that the same thing? I think it is. So I'm down at Cape Hillsborough. The first place, I don't know if you saw the first place I went to, it's like a puffin sanctuary. Like we have these native like puffin birds, but because it's raining, they weren't there. And they're so cute. They're fat with big beaks and things. And they nest, they have a nesting area there. And all the little baby puffins are there at the moment. And they're just like little balls with big beaks, but there's none. I don't know. I don't even think they're called puffins. That's just what I call them. And so I've come down here. I'm at the other side where I was before. I'll have to show you on the thing. That headland, I was on the other side. And now I've driven over to this side where they have kangaroos and wallabies. You probably saw before, where people come down. There's a big tourist park in the back here, but they just always come down to the beach. They're fairly tame. And if you have a little bag of breadcrumbs, you can feed them. But I thought I'd like to give you guys an Australian sunrise, a true blue Aussie sunrise. And but of course it's so cloudy, so there's no sun, but you get the idea. So welcome to Australia, mate.
Thank you. That was
Thank
so cute. The
you.
kangaroo.
I know.
Oh, I know, kangaroos. Well, the first, did you see the little one? The second one, that was a wallaby, and the first one was a kangaroo.
Oh, did I miss the wallaby?
Oh. You'll have to rewind it maybe. But the first one you would have seen was a kangaroo. It's got the sort of stubby nose or a big blobbly nose, and the wallabies have a kind of a pointy nose. It goes down to a point more like a possum or something like that. Whereas kangaroos, they're sort of more like a dog face, but they're essentially the same thing. So, and I'm just gonna, I don't know if I can see it from here. Hang on. It's on one of these hilltops. There's a walk you can go to. I think it's on this peak here. There's a massive big rock up there, and you can climb all the way up. You can go up. It's a national park. You can go up the walk, and when you get to the top, there's this huge rock. And if you're a bit dexterous, you can climb to the top of the rock. And somebody's painted a picture, quite a good one, although it's a bit faded now, of Jesus's face on the top of the rock. So it's known locally as the Jesus face, and people go up there and talk to Jesus, I suppose. But it's quite a beautiful part of the world here. I just wanted you guys to be able to join me in this new place and time and enjoy it, this natural beauty and natural wonder, without having to give it any meaning. So I thought it'd be nice if you can see wallabies and kangaroos maybe for the first time, and just like have that moment, because that moment of wonder, that's what life is, that moment of and it's always when something is new, right? So when you're a little baby and you're growing up and you're experiencing everything's always a first. And it's like, there's that moment, And I thought you guys will have that moment with kangaroos. Gemma has that moment realizing that there's nothing to fear, right? And that you can let go of your fear quite capably and allow the universe to be in the hands of God, because why wouldn't you? Who else is in charge, do you think, Gemma?
Definitely not me.
Thank God for that. I say in the nicest possible way.
Thank God.
I know. So I'm on my phone. I don't know. I'm actually in an area that is not well known for having great reception. But this morning it seems to be. There's no phone towers. There's nothing down here. So I seem to have good reception at the moment. So I take advantage of it. But I wanted to bring, like we do a lot of work on our Zoom in with the confrontation, right? We do a lot of work with the confrontation, looking at our thoughts and looking at our position in the thing, which can be quite harsh. And keeping your finger on your nose all the time is something that, oh man, that's hard work, you know, and it's like, it's not always. So sometimes you need a bit of a break from it and just step back for a second and reconcile things. And I thought we'll just come down here and be in the moment. We'll just practice that, because it is as much a part of spiritual practice as anything is. Allowing everything to be brand new, allowing this moment to be brand new, and letting go of any preconceived ideas about this moment as being similar to another moment. Oops, hang on, just got to wind my selfie stick around. And all of that sort of thing, because in the present moment, of course, is where life's actually happening to you. And it's easy to get caught up with the Course in Miracles and the spirituality of it all and say, well, this is not life, but it is life. You know, even though it's an illusion and a dream, Jesus says in the Ur text, the opposite of life is not death, it's another form of life. So here we are in this dream having this other form of life, which because we, or I can only speak for myself, I suppose, really, but because we have this kind of transcendent mentality about it, we're doing the course and we're learning that it's not our home and everything else, it's easy to kind of ignore it and lose sight of just how wonderful it can be and how amazing it is. And when Jesus says in the Bible, one of the little quotes I love of his, which I'll probably get wrong, but I have come not that you may have life, but that you may have life more fully. I think that's in the book of Matthew. Am I right there, Tina? Is that? I have come not that you may have life, but that you may have life more fully. And I used to wonder, how can I have life more fully if my life is lived in God? You know, because like Jesus comes to bring me eternal life, but eternal life more fully. I mean, it's not just eternal life, but there's the eternal life. And to me, the appreciation also of the life I have in the dream, being able to include it in and accept it as it is and enjoy it in the moment, which is an incredible gift because it's temporary. It's like a snapshot of a beautiful experience. And I don't want to get into the argument of how can death be beautiful, but I'm not looking at it as death. I'm looking at it as another form of life. But it's a snapshot into the idea of a beautiful experience that I only get to have and appreciate and be in this moment. And it's easy when we're surrounded with things that are familiar, televisions and workplaces and things like that. And we tend to take these things for granted. And in some cases, we wish that we weren't in those places, that, oh, not work again. It's so boring here. I can't wait to get home, see my friends, whatever. And we miss the incredible simplicity and elegance and beauty of life. Just life. You could be in your workplace and pick up a pencil and look at the pencil. And it's like, how is this even possible? What kind of version of reality, what kind of author of reality would even conceive a pencil? You know, a leaf blowing in the wind. It's like, how is that? How does that happen? These leaves, and they blow along the beach here, and there are kangaroos, and there's a sky with clouds, and just the general wonder, the sense of wonder that like a child would have. You know, a very small child looks at everything for the first time with open eyes, and they're like, you see kids that are presented with things, you know, and their mentality isn't judgmental until they get to about 6 or 7. They start to judge things and start to learn the word no. But But as adults, it's very, very easy to let this moment pass us by, to let this moment, the joy of it. I mean, look at us four here, or however many happens and more. I'm going to swipe. Oh, there's Laurie on the other page. I'm on my phone, Laurie. I have to swipe. You're on the other page that I swipe. It only lets me have 4 a page. But like, that's amazing. Everything is just presenting itself for my appreciation. Everything is made manifest for my glory, for my joy, for my peace, for my happiness. And I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss a bit of it. Because when it's done, it's done. When the vessel is done and its time is finished and I've completed my learning course here on earth, all that I will have remaining of this is the joy that it brought to me in the moment that I actually connected with it, which will be saved in heaven. In the moment that I actually, oh, now there's a miracle. Look at that. I don't know if you can see. It's raining all around me, and yet there is no rain falling on the sand exactly where I am. It's raining in front of me. It's raining to the left of me. It's raining. Can you see the spots in the puddles? And look,
Yeah,
no
totally.
rain. There is no rain. Thank you, Father. That's a miracle. An incredible, it's pouring down over, it's pouring down right there where that shiny bit is. It's pouring down, pouring down, pouring down. There's rain right here in front of me. Pouring down rain, and then all in here, no rain. I'm standing in a blessed, there's just a few little tiny spots, but that's crazy. I feel like in that movie, Yes Man, you know, where the rain poured on him, but I'm in the opposite. I'm not getting rained on.
Truman.
What is it? Oh, the Truman Show. That's the one, the Truman Show. And as I'm walking now, the rain is walking ahead of me. That's bizarre. And look, it's following me behind. It's following me behind. The sand here is like dry where I'm standing. Dry, wet. Dry, wet. All around wet. And I'm given this little blessed bit of dry sand wherever I walk. I'm quite blown away. That's quite the miracle. Thank you, Father. That's insane. It's bucketing down out there. I am not getting wet. I am in the middle of the rain. It's raining fucking everywhere except on me. I can't believe it. I mean, I believe it. It's happening. Oh, no. I said I can't believe it. And now, look, it's raining on me. Doubt. You see what happens? I let doubt in. Now I'm getting pouring down. All right. Going to put my phone away for a minute. Going to go back to the car. Oh, that was so beautiful for a second. See, never doubt it. That's a funny thing. It's like Moses. Moses doubted that they would ever get to the promised land, and then look what happened. Now I'm getting wet. That was quite bizarre. I should just forgive myself. I will forgive myself. I'm forgiven for my doubt. That's beautiful. And the rain's beautiful. You know, it's like this whole this whole experience. How often do you see children playing in the rain, running around? They don't care about getting wet. They don't care about their clothes or their iPhones or their whatever. They're just out there in the beingness of their own joy. That's bizarre. Anywho, what's happening, Gemma Jones?
Hey, Dave. What's happening? What's happening?
What's happening with you? You know what's happening with me.
Yeah, all good, really.
Yeah,
Just feel like finally tuning, like judgment, just picking up. I think I've had like a bit spiritual ego-y, judgment-y stuff going on this week. That
good.
I just want to, yeah, sort of, it's that just catching. This week's been really, really like subtleties, and probably, you know, rewind, I don't know, 6 months, a year ago, whatever, everything had probably gone unnoticed. But I feel like chunky clunky stuff, there's been like big shifts
Chunky
with
clunky.
chunky clunky, like stuff's like
That's rather generic.
falling away, and then there's just this like finally tune, like just catching thoughts, judgmental thoughts, and just forgiving myself, and
Good.
and then yeah, something kind of happened with my sister, and I didn't want to collude with her fear, but on reflection, I'm like, I came at it with a bit of an edge to it. It wasn't with love and compassion. It was like a bit judgmentally. So I've kind of forgiven myself for that. But I didn't want to collude with her fear. But yeah, so just kind of that, really, just feel like this week's been a bit like sanding the walls, or sanding a bit of wood, like just to refining stuff this week, if that makes sense.
I guess it makes sense, but let me ask you a question. Okay. Where is the fear that you see in her?
Yeah, this is what I've reflected back on.
No. You have to do the work. It's like the sole responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept atonement for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because it's your sister, the emotionality of that relationship will cloud your capacity to see clearly. I don't know if that's a good way to put it, but the stronger the emotionality and the stronger the story, the bond and everything that you have with the illusion of things, the more you'll be convinced in the illusion of things. Mm-hmm. So when it's your sister, there's a strong sort of bond there. There's like a
it's just cut off a little. The sound's just gone a bit, Dave. I don't know if you can hear me.
Rather than see that she's representing symbolically your own fear about love, you play out the scenario as if there's a you. Huh? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
It just went a bit.
Hello.
I can hear you now, Dave. It just went a bit.
Tina, can you hear me?
Yeah, but you might want to turn your video off and just speak, because you're frozen and you're going in and out, and that might be helpful. So see if maybe now you're muted, Dave.
Okay, is that better? Are we back?
Yes.
I think it's my reception. Because I don't have a lot of reception down here.
Sometimes if you turn your video off when the reception is low, it's helpful, just so you can see. But right now you're cool.
All right, so we're cool. I'm just going to sit here in this little thing out of the rain. How groovy was that, though? I remember.
So groovy.
I know. I remember a little story about that. But anyway, Gemma, just getting back to where it's really at. Just remember that fear is in the mind of the perceiver.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like your sister is playing the part, giving you an opportunity to recognize fear within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a part that she wants to play, but it's a part that she plays willingly for you because you've projected it onto her.
Mm-hmm.
Before time began. It's like I give everybody an ego and I make one for myself. I can't see, and you're talking about spiritual ego. Pardon me. You can't see ego in someone else except through the eyes of your own ego.
Yeah.
It's
I realized that.
Right.
I totally realized that when we'd had this kind of exchange, and I was like, man, that wasn't godly. That was total ego. But yeah, it was good to reflect back and do the forgiveness work, and recognize the whole ego, seeing another ego, and that it was fear. So I was grateful, after the forgiveness work, grateful in the end for the opportunity. But
Always self.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other. There's no one else. It's like my declaration is always that I am singular, always that the world, there is no world. It's always done. What I'm looking at is already over. It's already been healed. The forgiveness work exists only in my own mind as an idea of letting go of the belief that what I think I see is still actually here and now in place of reality.
Yeah, I've just realized what it is, because there's a similar sort of flavor going on with something else at the minute, which I've noticed I'm doing, and it's judgments. I'm judging people's judgments. So it's my judgments.
Right.
I'm just trying to catch all those thoughts. Yeah.
You can't catch them. You can just sort of notice them there, and it's like, okay, I see that I'm passing judgment on this, that, and the other, and make a decision not to do that.
Yeah, don't judge the judgment.
You can't know what to do instead of that. The idea that I could not judge is not true, because the whole continuum, the whole third dimensional thing is symbolically representing judgment. But I can choose to see things differently. I can choose to use my judgment to judge for the Christ, like the Holy Spirit uses what I have made for my best interests and the best interests of everyone else. And all that I have ever made is judgment. So the Holy Spirit uses my ability, that I call it an ability or a disability of judgment, to teach me how to judge for what's helpful, to teach me how to judge for the Christ in my brother and in myself.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, there is no real giving up of anything. There's only a transformation. There's only a reinterpretation of defenses based on what it is that I want to see.
You just said the word I was going to use. I was just going to say,
defenses.
It feels like, I can feel it, like,
right.
And I don't want to feel that, I just want to, see in my defenselessness, my safety lies. Just want to see.
Right, exactly.
Christ.
Get a big black pen and write it on your forehead, defenseless.
Yeah.
Every time you look in the mirror, you'll see it. Write it on your arm, write it on your fridge, wherever. It's literally one of the best things that you'll ever do. Learn to walk in defenselessness and totally trust God. There's going to be a moment of faith required. Some of those moments of where you see that you're defending yourself, you've given yourself good and valid reasons according to you to defend yourself. It doesn't seem that there's any good reason not to defend yourself in some of those moments. You'd have to be crazy to let your defenses down in some of those moments. But literally, that's the way out. It's just, there's another piece of the puzzle. Let me turn this piece of the puzzle over that I've given all the meaning it has. You know, when you turn a jigsaw puzzle over and it's blank on the other side, that's what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
It's still the same jigsaw puzzle and it still fits together exactly the same way. We're just turning it over. But you can't turn it over all at once because it'll fall apart. You have to pick up a piece, turn it over, pick up another piece, turn it over, pick up another piece. And eventually, all the pieces are blank, which is how they are actually.
I love that.
It's like that movie I Heart Huckabees, where Ryan Gosling is not Ryan Gosling. What's his name? Dustin Hoffman, and he's got the blanket, and he says this blanket is God, and then he puts his hand up under the blanket and makes a bump in the blanket, and he says to the guy, "Now what do you see?" He goes, "There's God with a bump in it." Right, two things. It's like, no, it's still just a blanket, but you're judging the form, judging the shape, judging what seems to be showing up from the bump under the blanket. Take your hand away, it's just a blanket again, but it's still actually only the blanket. It doesn't matter if it has a bump or doesn't have a bump. So the jigsaw puzzle is, you're looking at the picture on the jigsaw puzzle, and it's a picture of a girl on a swing and some ducks and a pond or whatever, things like that. And you give it a meaning. You say, "Oh, isn't that lovely? That's a lovely jigsaw puzzle. I'll buy that for my granddaughter. She'd like that." And the whole world ensues about the picture, something that you're seeing and making up a story about who would like it and the whole thing, whatever. But if you turn that over, that whole jigsaw puzzle, and it's blank, you'd say to yourself, who the hell would want a jigsaw puzzle that's blank? That would be hard to do, and it's not there's no picture, you know. I won't buy that one for my granddaughter. She won't get it. But who is it that won't get it?
Mm.
You'd have to be quite determined and quite comfortable with the idea that, hang on, my life now has a new purpose, in order for you to actually choose that jigsaw puzzle. You hear what I'm saying?
Mm.
It's like in a transforming mind, it's the pictureless puzzle that we're looking for. It's like the Sufis, when they attain a certain level of awareness, a certain level of skill, and a certain level of mastery, they're given the final book they will ever read, which is a book that the pages are all blank. It's a sign of respect. Right, by the peers. It's a sign of respect by those who also have got to that certain level, that you get that book, because it tells you that there's nothing more for you to learn. Right, so we're turning over the jigsaw puzzle, and instead of complaining because it's blank, won't it be boring to be just peaceful all the time, and singular reality must be kind of dull, whatever. We're just turning it over blank, and we're not having any thought about it. We're going to leave it and let what's actually there be shown to us, revealed to us by God. But that can't happen until the whole puzzle's complete and it's blank. You can't hang on to one bit, looking at it, trying to remember the old picture that you saw before. Does that make sense? I feel that's quite a good analogy.
It really is.
So,
Yeah.
like lesson number 1, nothing I see means anything. I've given everything all the meaning I see, all the meaning it has for me, including this puzzle. So, Anthea, what's going on? You look contemplative there.
Yeah, I guess it's similar kind of, I think, to Gemma, in that I feel that oh, he's gone. I don't know whether you can still hear me, Dave.
Oh, you can't see me. I can see you.
Oh. Yeah, like Gemma,
I've got Laurie.
I feel like I'm beginning to hear my own private thoughts, and I'm able to apply or have my thinking corrected. But where I'm getting disturbed is by other people. So, for example, if somebody comes to me, and says, oh, I'm really pissed off, life's going wrong, I hate my job. I'm like, oh, go away. But, I'm okay in my private thoughts. I'm beginning to get a grip
behind
on
me,
it.
Satan.
But yeah, just like, oh, I'm finding it a bit scary.
Right. It will be a bit scary. This is a journey into fear. But the thing is, those people are playing a part for you. Right now, look at your reaction. There's nothing to fear. Gemma just read that lesson. There's nothing to fear, 48. Right. But you find it a bit scary. So where Jesus is telling you there's nothing to fear and you're finding fear, it's like, well, this is a journey into fear. We're here to find it. We're here to discover it within ourselves. Other people are just the catalysts. This person's going to say something. I'm going to have a reaction. This person's going to tell me something. I'm going to feel a certain way. And it's like my own sense of inner peace is my barometer for where I'm actually at in my transformation. Am I peaceful or am I not peaceful? Am I upset about it? Do I want to tell them to go away? All these sorts of things, because I'm reacting only to my own thoughts about them. If they came up to me and said, this is shit, that's terrible, I hate this and hate that. Or then if they came up to me and said, this is wonderful, I love this is beautiful, you're amazing, and all these sorts of things, your reactions would be different. You'd probably want those people to come back and have a cup of tea with me, or let's go down the pub and have a beer, you're my new best friend, whatever, rather than be fearful.
Yeah,
but it's the same. It's actually the same thing. I'm only ever looking at my thoughts. Now, if there is no world and there's nothing outside of me, which is a place where I put myself into, let's say, a testing ground or a proving ground, because I'm not, if I took Jesus at his word straight away, everything would just disappear. But because I don't, I have to be led by the hand through my own maze of deceit, bit by bit by bit, and discover that my thoughts about things actually aren't true, right? They have no meaning other than that which I've given them. And so I'm presented with learning situations, learning relationships where I can look at my thoughts and see that it's actually only my thoughts that disturb me, not the people. If that person came up to you and they were Japanese and you didn't speak Japanese and they started complaining about their job and their life and everything, you wanted them to go away, you wouldn't know what they were talking about. You'd be different again. You'd probably excuse this, oh, sorry, I don't speak Japanese. You'd have a different reaction again. So in the course, we're learning to look at our thoughts. We're learning to be vigilant for the kingdom of heaven within, keeping my finger on my nose, and learning to keep sight of my own sense of inner peace in every given situation, and to be honest when I lose it. This person triggered me, I lost my sense of inner peace there. That person triggered me, I wish they'd go away, I lost my sense of inner peace there, right? It's just another form of defense. I wish they'd go away.
It's true.
But seen rightly, it's a good thing. Seen rightly, you're starting to pay attention. You just now need to do the application work. Okay. And the lesson will repeat until it's learned. A different person, a different situation, perhaps, but you'll know it's the same lesson because you'll feel the same way about it. I wish they'd go away.
It's difficult when it's your child.
Of course, because like Gemma with her sister.
It's hard
like
to know when to give advice. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm listening to what she's saying, and I'm saying, I place the future in the hands of God. But then I'm very aware that as, my mother role, I'm not really saying a lot to her.
So why don't you sit down and have a talk with her? How old is she?
19.
19, perfect. Just sit down and have a talk with her. She understands concepts. She understands principles. Just explain your position to her. Just say, look, I'm in this process of transformation. and I want to help you, but I have to try and stay true to what I'm doing as well. Offer her. And it's hard when it's your loved ones, because Jesus says if they don't want to hear it, dust off your sandals and move on. But when it's your daughter or your son or whatever, you can't actually just dust off your sandals and move on. You have this kind of mortal responsibility until hopefully they come to terms with their own situation. But in everything, Anthea, in everything, there's always a stepping back and an asking. What should I say, Father? Right? So in every situation, it's like the Native American Indians. I think it was the Apache or something. I was talking with my friend Joey. Oh no, Navajo. He was a Navajo. And he said to me that when people talk in his tribe, it's not their custom to respond back straight away. They sit and they think quietly about what they want to say, and they consult the spirit within them, and they give it consideration, because it's more respectful to do that rather than just to speak from the ego, rather than to speak from the lip. And they always try to come from the heart. All right? Jesus says simply, let your words reflect mercy. Now, what those words are to be and how you offer advice or guidance to a teenager, I don't think any person on the planet knows that. I think had Jesus had a teenage child, he wouldn't have known how to address that either. There are so many hormones and chemicals and things running around in a teenager that flip the switch this way and that way at any tick of the clock, that basically you have to let them work it out for themselves. And I've got a teenage daughter myself who's 13, and boys I'm sure will soon be on the event horizon, and I'll be in a position that I don't really want to be in as dad. But yet I play the part of dad where I'm going to let her get the results of her own thinking after I've given her all my best dadly advice. And hopefully she'll remember it. But I can't control somebody else, and I can't even perceive for my own best interests for myself. You know? So I need to always be deferring to the Holy Spirit, to God. Listen, learn, and do. What should I say? Give me the words, Father. Right? And step back and wait for the words to come. Step back and wait until you feel that there's something there that you can contribute that's the right thing, and you'll get a sense of it. You'll just know it. You'll feel it. It'll feel right in your heart. You'll be like, ah, yes. Sometimes you hear these things in retrospect, in hindsight, after having spoken from the lip, and probably made the balls up of it. But so remember that with this, you can go back later and you can say, hey, I want to have another chat about that advice I gave you earlier, because I think I might have been a bit off the mark with it, right? There's nothing wrong with eating humble pie, and nothing wrong with reevaluating your position and everything, because in this whole process, all you're ever doing is trying to true up to who you are in the opportunity where it's presented for you to be able to do that. And you're learning, right? So you got to sort of like give yourself a load off here. You're learning. You're in a framework of yourself, or you've made the situation doubly. You need a miracle to even want a miracle. Can you see that? Because in a certain sense, there is no daughter. There is no problem that your daughter's going through. It's just unresolved beliefs, unresolved false belief in separation in your own mind. And that's what you're asking for the healing of. In the healing of that, then hopefully you'll be tuned in enough to hear a response or a what to do in the actual physicality of things. So he says in the course, listen, learn, and do, which is the motto for the whole course. listen to my voice, learn to undo error, and then do something to correct it. Right? But first, there's a listening. So you take in your circle, you take your issue or your problem or your whatever you think it is into the circle with you, and you offer it. It's like, Father, take this. I don't know how to deal with this. Right? And you have the release of the fear, and you have the release or the letting go of all that emotionality around it, which is clogging up the channel, preventing you from actually hearing. Right? Once you have that release, then that channel is no longer clogged, and you can hear what it is you need to hear to be able to facilitate the expression of love that will automatically take care of whatever the concern was in that situation before, because it's only you not seeing it right. You're learning to see the Christ. You're not learning to offer advice to your daughter particularly, even though that's how it may show up. That's how it may look in the form, right? Just remember that the form, the situations outside of yourself are always symbolic. They're not matter of fact. The matter of fact of the situation is that you're healing belief, showing up as your daughter, blah, blah, blah. Does that make sense? Oh. Does that sit with you somewhere, Anthea?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, good. So always finger on the nose, right? I mean, you could express it slightly differently again if you wanted to. It's like, put yourself in her shoes. What advice would I want to hear? Right? You could play it out on a human level. What advice would I want to hear from my mother if I was in this same situation? Right? And you can look at it from that perspective. It's going to be exactly the same outcome, because the advice of a mother is one that comes, well, hopefully, comes from a place of care, right? Which is the same as the Christ, comes from a place of love and warmth and all of those things. And that's what we're trying to put into the situation, that's reflecting back an absence of it. An absence of comfort, an absence of felicity, an absence of care and warmth and all of those sorts of things. But I always like to just step back and ask and see if there's some kind of higher guidance in any given situation, because that's my purpose. That's my whole thing. Listen, learn, and do. It's like I'm learning a specific curriculum. I'm just going to hop in the car here. I'm learning a specific curriculum that, although the healing of my particulars in the dream is included in it, my goal doesn't stop in that. My goal is beyond even that. My goal of the course is inner peace. But for what reason is it inner peace? All right. The goal of the course is inner peace for the reason of that in my peaceful mind, my world becomes peaceful, and I raise the vibration of my own association thereby in the relationships that I have, right? Which automatically contribute to the relationships everybody else has. I'm raising that vibration. I'm participating in a celestial event that we call the awakening. Lower order concerns about my daughter, my son, my family, my sister, whatever, lower order concerns like that, they're included in that raising up. They're included in the celestial event, but they aren't the point of focus themselves. In the moment that you're dealing with them, they are, but only so you can flip them over into that pictureless jigsaw puzzle. Right? So I'm looking at something and it's like, all right, here's another slice of the pie. Here's another piece of the puzzle showing up again and again and again. And it's my job now, because I've taken it on board, to accept atonement for myself, in this situation. And with your daughter and your son and whatever else, it's going to be more difficult because you've given it a meaning that's more valuable than somebody else's daughter or son. Already there's an inequality there. Already there's a difference. There's a separation between the obligation you feel to your daughter and someone else's daughter. Even though you probably would still try to give good advice to somebody else's daughter, she's ultimately not more important than your own. Right? There's a schism there. Otherwise, the situation wouldn't be presented in the first place. And it wouldn't matter if it was your daughter or your dog or your father or mother or anybody. It just wouldn't matter. Let's see if I can get this thing there. The miracle of the rain. I should have gone out and walked on the water right then. I just realized that. That would have been fun. I always used to wonder, you know, when Jesus talks about you will do greater things than I've done, I always thought how cool that would be. Like he walked on the water. It's like, what am I going to do? Fly or something? It's like, but of course he's not referring to the manifestation of miracles in that way. He's referring to the ability to raise up a greater chunk of the dense light. But who knows how that transfers out in the world? It's not my concern, not my, you know, place to judge or whatever. So yes, families, friends, all of these sorts of things. But the place that you're coming to terms with is in all of your relationships, not just the ones that you're familiar with more than others, like the ones that have emotional loading, but in all your relationships, the place you're coming to terms with is your diligence to the goal of those relationships, your diligence and allegiance to the goal of those relationships, which is to make them holy, which is to see no lack in my brother, which is to see no problem and accept no fear in the place of love's presence, which is what that relationship actually represents. If you could see that every relationship and every encounter was a holy one, you'd just erupt into light and joy. It's like there's no one to forgive, only blessed brothers, only kindred spirit. There's no problem, there's no one complaining about something, there's none of that. It's like, try to read between the lines. What's really going on here? On the surface, it looks like my daughter having a complaint or a problem or a whatever, but what's she really saying? Because it's either love or a call for love. It's either love or a call for love. It's a call for love, obviously. And you react to it by saying, I wish it would go away.
Yeah.
Because fundamentally, you don't want love. You want love on your own terms, not as it's being presented, not as it actually is, which is unconditional. I wish it would go away. Right. Now, put your finger on your nose. It's like, damn, I'm trying to get rid of love here. This is a call for love in me. There's nobody out there. There's no daughter out there. It's like just an illusion. This whole thing's just a fabrication. It's like she's presenting me an opportunity to accept love, to feel love, and to join with her in love. But it's written between the lines. It's implied in the complaining and the whinging and the blah, 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 right? If you were perfectly peaceful with that, then it would just be love. But because you react to it in a rejective way, it's a call for love. I mean, that's quite obvious to me. But love in the world, it's like there's no love in the world, there's only love in you. So I'm looking at my responses to everything. If she had been like, Mum, you're the greatest, I love you, you'd be like, oh, that's great. And you'd want to give her a hug, and you'd validate love as an idea of the relationship that you have together in that moment. But when it's not looking like that, you don't want to call it love. You want to call it complaining or whatever. But it's like she's a catalyst. She's an opportunist. She's showing you a doorway. And if it's not her, it'll be someone else. It's like you'll have an opportunity. Someone else will show up and they'll present you the same scenario, and it'll solicit the same response. I wish you'd go away. And it may come around many times, Anthea.
It does.
Right, of course. It'll come around again and again and again, because it's showing you something in yourself where you want to reject love. You're not pushing away a person or a situation or an event. You're pushing away love because you don't like how it looks in that moment. Right? Now, I'm not telling you to join them in their misery and their whinging and their complaining. Obviously, that's pointless. But I'm telling you, step back and ask within, how should I see this? How do I respond to this? What do I do in this situation? I see that I'm looking at my own thoughts, not a person out there. I'm looking at my own thoughts about a person out there, and that I see that I'm not seeing the Christ. I actually want to be able to see the Christ in place of what I think I see now. But I don't know how to do that. Obviously, I need a miracle. I need help. Right? Show me, teach me, tell me what to say, everything, total deference to God. And until you reach that, until you reach a level of integrity with that is greater than your desire to push them away, nothing's going to change, right? So you'll have to have that same situation present itself again and again until finally you get so fed up with not dealing with it that the integrity for your prayer will outweigh the disdain and the rejection of the situation. Can you hear that? Prayer is all about the integrity of the heart. I'm praying to see this as it actually is, not to make it actually better, right? Because I can't make better what is already perfect. I'm not praying to heal a sickness or a disease or whatever. I'm praying to see God in the situation. I'm praying to see the truth. Show me the truth here. That's the higher purpose of that. In that seeing, in that integrity, and in that prayer, hopefully, if you're willing to hear the answer and be in receipt of the answer, you'll be shown. Right? At the very least, hopefully there'll be a shift in your consciousness where your wish to reject a part of the creation of God becomes lessened, sort of subsides a bit. It's like there's a place where the integrity for prayer, the integrity of the prayer of the heart, if I'm only half-hearted, I can only hear half the response. It's like if I only open the channel halfway, only half the message can get through. Right? What I offer, I receive. As I give, I receive. That's especially the same with God. Although you have the Holy Spirit who can purify your prayers and offer them on your behalf. But that's why you have to do this with the Holy Spirit, not with Anthea's spiritual brain, not with Anthea's spiritual ego. Okay? Does that make sense? Oh, Gemma Jones is on the other page now. There we go. Maybe I'm supposed to talk to Laurie. My phone's jigging around here. You good with that, Anthea? All right. So finger on the nose and be vigilant for the situations that show up. Okay, they'll carry the same emotional signature and you'll want to tell them all to fuck off and go away. I wish you'd just piss off. Get honest with that. Not in a way where you do tell them to fuck off, but get honest with that about how you feel about it and stop trying to spiritualize it. Right? It's like, no, I'm really angry. I wish they'd just fuck off and leave me alone. I want to be left alone. Because that is the ego. Let it get raw. Let the blood flow. We like it when it gets juicy. It's like, all right, I've got to be really honest with myself here, how I'm really feeling. When you tell me you wish they'd just go away, I'm thinking you're just dumbing that down. If you had a ninja sword, you'd probably behead them. vicious, suspicious, cunning, and baffling. Right? Let yourself go to whatever depth of response that you can. Let yourself feel it to whatever level that you can. It's like, fuck, I hate this world. Right? I can't stand this bullshit day after day after day. Like, get real with it. If you try to spiritualize it, oh, I wish they'd just go away. And then you laugh about it. Well, that's how you present the situation to me, but I know it's deeper than that. This is the denial of God we're looking at. This is the big fuck you to the universe. It shows up in a little tiny package that you think you can handle, called a problem with my daughter.
Yeah, it's more that I feel like, oh, more shit that I have to deal with.
Oh yeah, welcome to my world.
It's not that I hate people or anything. It's just, it's like, I don't really want to be looking at this.
Right. Of course you don't. You don't really want God. You don't really want to look at atonement. Look how resistant you are. Like, go into that resistance. Holy crap, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to deal with it. Because somewhere there's a confrontation in it with yourself that you're trying to avoid. It's like yesterday we were talking about looking at the void, looking at the abyss, the emptiness, the self-annihilation, that place in your mind where you already know, right? Listen to this. You already know that when you fully accept atonement for yourself, you're going to cease to exist. Right? The Anthea dream figure doing A Course in Miracles, running around with the daughter and everything, just disappears. And the Anthea as spirit, Anthea mind, is all that there will be. Right? You don't want to give up the world. I'm going to tell you this to your face. You don't want to give up the world. You just want a better version of the world. I know that because I know it in myself. It wasn't until finally the dark night of my soul where I saw that I actually didn't want anything in the world, didn't want to be here, didn't want to exist, didn't want to be a Dave, I just wanted to know myself as spirit. That's the prayer of the heart. I just wanted to know myself how God knows me. That's all I wanted. I didn't care about anything else. I didn't understand forgiveness, but I wanted it. I didn't want there to be even anyone that I seemed reasonable to need to forgive. It seems stupid. Why would I want there even to be someone that I had to forgive? I just want peace. It's like you're always up against your own denial. You're always looking at your own resistance to love. I don't want to confront this. I don't want to look at it in my own mind. I wish it would just go away. It's like an inconvenient truth. Now, did you go to the pub? No.
No.
See, you're not very good at following the instructions, are you? I'll give you the instructions.
I do really try to do everything that you tell me to do. And
No, you don't. No, you don't. There's no such thing as try. You either do or you don't do. I really try is just more of your bullshit. Look how you try to give yourself a back door out of it. Well, I really tried, Jesus. I'm sorry, but
I don't even know anybody at this pub. Like, I'm new to this village. I would have not known anybody, and I was slightly worried that my ex-husband might be there, and slightly worried that this energy that you could see around me could well be something to do with him.
How could it be something to do with him? I've just spent like 20 minutes telling you to put your finger on your nose. It's just you. Now, go to the pub. Don't take a friend. Just go by yourself. Stand at the bar and order a drink, whatever. Let all that come up. Look at the whole story you've got it. I'm new to this village. I don't know anyone there. I'll feel out of my comfort zone. The whole thing. Yeah. Perfect. Why the hell do you think I asked you to go to the pub?
Well, you didn't make that clear.
No, because I was actually hoping you'd take a leap of faith and do it on faith. rather than not do it because of all the reasons that you've made manifest, which shows me clearly where you're really at in your own transformation. You're still like dragging your feet. You're not really at it with gusto. You're not looking at it going, fuck yeah, I can't wait to get into this. I don't know what this is going to be, but I'm saying yes. You're not really one of those I'm saying yes people yet. You're still trying to evaluate everything and seek assurances and guarantees. That's got to fall away. Watch The Yes Man, right? Watch Yes Man with David Carey or whatever his name, Brian Carey, the
I
actor.
love that film. I love watching
Right, watch
people
it.
say yes.
Watch it. It's a funny thing. You just get to see how much resistance to love you actually have. Look at it. With your daughter, with going to the pub, like simply doing what you're told, the authority problem. If you got the blue book, read the authority problem.
Okay.
You're still defending yourself against love. It's like Tina, who's down below here, she probably is too, but at least she's got this recognition now that that doesn't serve her and that her only best interest is served by just saying yes, even if it takes her into a fearful place. Because somewhere there's a recognition that I actually need to find the fearful places if I'm truly about my my position of being a healer. Because what am I gonna heal? The non-fearful places?
Well, when you put it like that, that sounds a bit silly.
I know. It's like a doctor going to a perfectly healthy person and saying, let me heal you, right? A physician isn't required for the healthy. It's required for the sick, right? This is your prescription. Go to the pub by yourself. Whatever happens there, happens there. Just remember, go there with God. Go there with the Holy Spirit. Go there with some kind of shred of grasping the idea of the purpose that you're there for. Otherwise, you'll forget and your husband will be there and someone will be there and the whole thing will be there and it'll all fall into a shit show. And you'll be back here and going next week going, I'm never going to the pub again. Right? Missing the complete point and the whole opportunity of why I'm telling you to go to the pub.
Okay, I'll go to the pub by myself. I want the T-shirt, though, that says I am actually with God.
Would that be a defense if you wore that T-shirt? I'm sure it would be. Just wear a T-shirt that says "Show me the money, bitch," something like that. You know, like DTF. Just put that on your T-shirt. You don't know that one, Tina? DTF. Down to fuck. Down to fuck. That's all the girls here on my other Facebook page, my tattoo one. It was going around for a while. It was like they'd post up a picture of some pop star or some movie star and then just head it DTF. It's funny. Laurie, what's going on? I've had enough of dealing with Anthea. I wish she'd just go away.
Well, I wish you'd just keep dealing with her because I don't really want to tell you what's going on with me.
You don't have to. You don't have to tell me what's going on with you. This isn't therapy.
Oh,
although it is therapy.
Well, but I feel like I need to out myself about something that happened. Yeah, about something that happened when we were reading. And my spiritual ego has been analyzing this and trying to tell me how wonderful I really am. And, oh, this is embarrassing. When we were reading and we were getting toward the end of the reading, I was not being in the present. I was like jumping forward and like, okay, I'm going to be reading next and kind of getting excited about it. And then Anthea told Gemma just to keep reading. And I was thinking, well, shit, it's my turn.
Right.
I was feeling jealous, and I thought, oh my God, are you serious? Really? I mean, really?
I want to polish Jesus' sandals. Jesus, let me polish your sandals. Let me kiss your robes and polish your bum, you know? Like, I know, right.
Oh God. I mean, and I've had to laugh at myself, and I'm going,
Good.
obviously there was something bigger going on here than what little Lori's ego was whining about. And so it's good to be
Exactly.
able to
Gemma's all
laugh
fucked
about
up
it.
and needs the help.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, God. So
But
other than
whatever it
that,
is. Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad you saw that. That's nice.
yeah, yeah.
The
So
idea of spiritual ego is it's kind of like a true thing, because you're taking your same old, right? This is where the application comes in. You're taking the same old mind that's judgmental, giving it a whole bunch of new material, right, that it can be judgmental with, right? We call it spiritual material. And it's like a kid that likes playing with matches. You're giving it bigger matches, right? Play with these matches, these, right? And you're hoping like somewhere that the kid's going to burn himself down with the matches. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to like death of the ego, you know. But you have to be aware and see what it is you're doing. You can't see what you're doing with the little matches. You need to make more of a fire so you can see the hazard, so you can see the problem, right? So we give you a bunch of spiritual concepts which embody a load of principles. And at first you have this kind of romance with the concepts, right? It's like this spiritual honeymoon period where you enter into it. Isn't it wonderful? We all get to wear beads and burn incense and chant Hare Krishna and whatever you do. And then after a while, you start to realize, hang on, we've been doing this for a while. Is this all there is to it? And then it's like, well, no, actually, now you have to apply it to your world. And up until that moment of recognition, Anthea, where we see that we have to actually apply it, it's all honeymoon. It's all just like, whatever. And the resistance, of course, comes when you see that you have to apply it, because the ego loves to be this spiritual something that can be seen as, I'm spiritual, you're not, therefore I'm better than you. And rather than eating that humble pie through the application, where you realize that you're the cause of suffering, pain, and death, and that you should be your brother's keeper. You should be a servant to mankind rather than be put up on some kind of pedestal and recognized as someone who's something, right? If you look, I don't know what sort of groups you guys move in, but if you look out into the world, and I'm gonna break my own perfect reflection here, but if you look out into the world, you'll see plenty of guys that like to advertise themselves as this and that and whatever in a spiritual context, charge tons of money and like just build up big followings and networks and websites. And I mean, I have a website, but I don't know if anyone ever ever reads it, but there's a whole bunch of stuff there, which is all perfect as well, right? Because if you're in this long enough, hang around the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut, right? Even some of those guys who are like on the world stage promoting themselves as teachers and healers and all of that sort of stuff, they'd never stick their head in this Zoom meeting. It just wouldn't happen. There'd be too much humble pie to eat. But the orchestration of things is always perfect. The humble pie train always comes around. It's like you can hear it in the background all the time when you're doing this work. You stand up on a podium somewhere and you're doing your teaching, which is as high as the ego can get, and you're presenting yourself as something other than the Son of God. I'm a teacher of A Course in Miracles or whatever. I still use those acronyms as well. I still use those things as well, because if I presented myself to you as the Christ, you'd be like, what the hell? So I sort of dumb it down a bit,
You're the Christ? That's crazy. No one's the Christ. Jesus was the Christ. Are you sure that you're not Jesus? Maybe you're just a mental person. I wonder if it says in the Bible, if Jesus ever walked on the beach in a pouring down rain and there was a little patch like 10 meters square all around him that didn't get wet. There you go. Like, that's the miracle of the rain right there. That's, you know, I'm going to be high on that. My spiritual ego will be high on that for a week. And you guys are my witnesses. Like, you can see it. Like, I'm just still high on it. You can see it all around. The ground's wet, wet, wet everywhere you look, and perfectly dry where I am.
It's on camera. It's recorded.
It's on camera even. We captured it.
Like the scribes.
The miracle of the rain. The miracle of the rain. And then I doubted it, and I started getting wet. That's so funny. I cast an aspersion at God. Anyway. So, yeah, it's always be vigilant. It's like the concepts are one thing, but the application of the principles, Laurie, is another. Right? The idea that you are laughing at yourself tells me that you applied the principle quite successfully there and dispelled that false perception of things, you know. So that's where it's at. But there's going to be others, you know. That's pretty well a lightweight concern with Gemma, and their situations are more heavily loaded. They have more emotional attachment to offspring and things like that, and going to the pub, and husbands might be there and whatever. They're going to be harder to laugh at because the emotional loading placed on those things as a way of defending oneself from love is heavier and stronger, or seems to be heavier and stronger. But remember that there's no order of difficulty in miracles, right? Even your worst nightmares are dispelled in exactly the same way as just the little funny ones that we can laugh at about ourselves doing these Zoom meetings. No order of difficulty in miracles. I think it's number 7 in the miracles principles. Or maybe that's, my memory's fading. Prayer is a medium of miracles. But anyway, that's not anything, you know, like seen rightly, that's not anything to be embarrassed about or anything like that. It's to see yourself like that, is because that's why we're here to be embarrassed. We're here to expose our embarrassing, ugly side. You know? Look at me, I doubted the miracle of the rain. Look, how embarrassing is that? Caught on camera, doubting God, doubting the efficacy of the miracle that was occurring to me as it was occurring. I must be crazy. It's like, yep, finger on the nose, again. I die daily. You know, if I hadn't have doubted that, there would have been my own personal little vertical rainbow would have come down right there and illuminated me up. Why not? Anything's possible. Anything is possible. But just living in the now, living in this moment. Now I think I'll venture out again. Someone's done some graffiti here. I'm just going to show you guys because it's kind of cool. Let's see if I can flip my camera around and show you. Someone's graffitied on the rubbish bin. That's the graffiti that shows up in my dream. I don't know what graffiti shows up in your dream, but mine's forgiven graffiti. Although I don't know who Ben is. Ben's the catalyst, you know, Ben's the schism. There's always got to be, I love everything, and then plus something else. So, all right, I'm going back down the beach again.
maybe the kangaroos will be there. I'd like to show you guys. There's usually like about a dozen. There's a family of them down here, and wallabies as well. And they live in all that bush. But they often are out at the beach. Morning. They often are out at the beach, and you can get really close to them. So I'll just see. I got pretty close this morning. I have no shoes on, so I have to just be a bit miracle-minded about this. They're all gone now. When it rains, they usually duck into the cave. Here on the coastline, there are all these caves that's like into the rocks where there's soft rock and hard rock, and the soft rock gets eaten away by the high tides and makes these little things. And the Aborigines in days of old, there's caves up in the hills as well, but they used to live in them, and there's some remnants of ancient, oh, there's the kangaroos, they're over there. So there's remnants of ancient Aboriginal living around this part. Like there was quite a big tribe of Aboriginal people that lived here. And there's middens, which is a circle where they would have rituals and worship and stuff. And there's food trails and all sorts of things. And on the other side of the headland, there's a stone circle built into the low tide mark where they would chase fish and wait for the tide to go out, and the fish would get caught in the stone area, and they would go in and catch all the fish. But this whole area, this national park, is just like I love coming here. It feels raw, like the energy feels open and everything seems to be just fresh. I don't know if, it doesn't feel tired, like a tired out, worn out old city or something like that. It just always feels like it's being renewed. And I look at that as my own mind. My own mind's always been renewed. But when you get out of your own comfort zone, and when you get out of familiar surroundings and come to places that are off the beaten track like this, you really get a sense of the wonder of places when you don't give it a meaning, the wonder of things when you just let it be exactly what it is, rather than being so familiar with it that you kind of contemptuously don't even appreciate it. You don't even realize that you don't appreciate it. The same situations, people, family, friends, and everything that are around you all the time, and you kind of take it for granted. But this moment is a brand new moment. Don't take it for granted and don't let it pass you by. Try to breathe it in and connect with it and appreciate it. And you'll get a sense of the life that is contained in it, the life, the living force of things. Like you perceive the living force of God, the living force of the light and everything through appreciation, through gratitude, through joy and wonder and all of those things. And if you're not living your life in wonder, then you'll be living your life in wondering about it. It's much more beautiful to live your life in wonder and things, just to completely open up to it. That's why I said to you, Anthea, go to the pub. Put yourself in an unfamiliar place. Let yourself feel it. If it brings up fear, you know how to deal with the fear. Convert it. But allow something new to happen that's not of your own making. Allow something new to happen that's not orchestrated by you. Step into a new space, a whole new place, and just see what happens. You've got nothing to lose. This whole thing is a great experiment. This whole thing is, I'm just going to flip the camera, but this whole thing is an incredible journey if you let it be. Like, do you really want to be studying A Course in Miracles for 10 years, 20 years? Get out and apply it. Get out and enjoy it. Like, I came that you may have life and have life more fully. Not life hiding away in your bedroom. Not life watching every soap opera, wishing that your life was more like the soap opera. I don't know if you can see these guys, but there they go. A couple of kangaroos. They get a bit nervous. There's too many people too close to them. But just going to sneak up closely. You don't have kangaroos in England, do you? They're passing a law at the moment in our country so that you can have kangaroos as pets legally. Up until now, there's only been a premise for it that if you found one injured, you could take it in and care for it. And obviously, they get very attached to you. They are very loving. When they're raised as pets, they'll follow you around everywhere. They'll, like with their little front hands, they'll just they'll try to cling onto you. They're very clingy, but just be a bit quiet now, getting closer. Up. I don't know if you can see them. They'd be kind of small on the.
I can see them.
I'm making that noise. That's not kangaroo noises. What are you guys doing?
Looking at kangaroos.
I'm talking to the kangaroos.
Oh.
What's going on? Can you see them?
Yeah.
They drink a bit of the salt water. There's kind of like fresh and salt water that comes down here, and they like it. It's brackish.
Aww.
Hello.
Tail. Big old feet.
Yeah, oh yeah, they have big feet.
He's so cute. Oh my God. Oh,
There they go.
Oh, I want a pet. Walking on water.
Yeah, exactly.
The miracle. Wow.
Anyway,
Mm.
I just wanted to bring you down here, you know, to so you could have that experience, so you could see something that's not familiar and enjoy it and find that sense. That sense, you know, when you saw their big old feet, Tina, in that moment, that like,
Yeah.
ah, look, that sense of wonder.
Sweet.
Don't take that for granted. That's your gift in this world. That's your gift, is that sense of wonder and childlike innocence. Like, look at it. Get outside, go something different, break the routine, all of these sorts of things. I'll take you up here and I'll show you the caves. There's one here. Most of them are sort of down that way more, but there's a couple here that are smaller. It's really quite a majestic sort of coastline here. When the sun sets in the afternoon, there's a big rock out there on the end. When the sun sets in the afternoon, it looks just like a skull. It lights up these two caverns that look like eyes, and it looks like a. I always used to, my little boy Tyler, always used to say to him that that's where the pirates are, like this skull cave. It was really kind of like cool. So forgiveness, Anthea. It'll help you to see things clearly. It's like I'm looking at the idea that I'm resisting love, resisting God. I need to forgive myself for that idea. It'll help me to see the situation truly. Same thing, Gemma. Same thing exactly with your sister. Like those emotionally loaded, the heavy emotional ones, they're the ones you want. They're you know, like when you have enough faith, you'll confront them. You'll get into those ones, you know, family, friends, and whatever. Here we go.
Oh, cool. Oh.
Yeah, I don't think this one's a cave actually.
You're breaking up.
This
You're breaking.
one's just
Okay.
a
I can see them. Cool. Awesome.
sort of opening. But oh, yep, there we go. This one goes up and through the rock, up into whatever's up there. But there's all and Bapu and everything in here. Travelogues of Australia like this. Travelogue with dear one. I'd say that.
Cool.
Is it volcanic?
Now you're looking at the nooks and crannies of my mind. There you go. That's where it comes out into that one. This one goes up into this one, actually. Oh.
Wow.
And then I come up out and I don't know where the hell I am now.
Uh-oh. Lost.
Oh, yeah, I'll just go back down. It doesn't really lead anywhere. Anyway, any questions? Gemma?
I think Gemma's gone.
Oh, has she?
Mhm.
There you go. You can hear the kookaburras in the background. Another little cave under there. I thought you'd like that.
Sweet. Thank you.
No questions, Anthea? No? Anthea,
No.
can you hear me?
Yeah. No
Cool.
question.
No questions? Good. It's like it's just a little reality check, really. Every situation, you know, there's never a moment in which God's voice doesn't call upon my forgiveness to save me. And these moments are just little reality checks. I see where I'm trying to push love away. And it looks ugly sometimes because that's the meaning I've given things so that I won't go there, so that I won't remove the blocks. The last thing I want to do is love myself unconditionally. That's the whole point of this course. That's the whole point of everything we're doing, learning to love unconditionally and recognizing, of course, that that's the last thing I actually really want to do. I only really want to love myself on my own terms and then try to demand that everybody else loves me on those terms as well. And that never works. It just turns me into a hermit. So you end up pushing everyone and everything away. And I know that from firsthand.
So here we go. I'll just walk back to the car and then I'll sign off. I'm up on this top of the sand dunes now here. We have these pine trees. These are Norfolk Island pines all around here, coconut palms. It's really beautiful in the tropics. You guys should come and hang out. They have some cabins here that are, you can rent them out for overnight and stuff. Bush turkey. He's talking to me, telling me good morning. So, anyway, Tina, you all good? I think the thing's frozen. You guys all look frozen.
I am good. I'm just praying and watching the recovery try to happen. I'm good.
Oh. Laura, you're good?
I'm good.
All right. All right, well, I'm going to sign off then. I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you so
Bye.
much, Dave. Thank you.
I'll keep the thing going because it's pretty along here. You might want to watch, but
You're frozen,
Cool.
Dave. Your video's frozen. Oh, it's back.
oh, is it? Oh,
I'm
hang on.
gonna bounce, Anthea. So keep recording. So, oh yeah, you'll get it. So I can see it.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm
Love
out.
you.
I'm out too. Love you guys.